طيب بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسوله وصحبه أجمعين. Today we continue with the lessons from the book كتاب الصيام من كتاب الفقه الميسر في ضوء الكتاب والسنة. So the book of fasting, and it's taken from the book فقه الميسر or fiqh made easy in the light of the kitab and the sunnah. So alhamdulillah, we reached the al-masla al-khamisa. So the fifth affair, so which is شروط وجوب صيام Ramadan. So it is, yeah, the conditions on the obligation of fasting Ramadan. So there are conditions to that for who it is obligatory for. So we go through the issues that we covered. The first affair we covered was the definition of fasting and clarifying and explaining its pillars. We did that, and then we went on to the second affair, which was the ruling of fasting Ramadan and the proof for that. And then we went on to the third affair, which was the type of fasting. And the fourth affair was the virtue of fasting in the month of Ramadan and the wisdom of its legislation of fasting Ramadan. And then now that was all in the past lesson, so you can watch that in the Telegram group. And now we're on the fifth, which is the conditions for the fast to be obligated upon a person in Ramadan, for them to fast Ramadan. So the Sheikh, it goes on, the book goes in and says, يجب صيام رمضان على من توفرت فيه الشروط التالية. So it's obligatory for it's obligatory to fast the month of Ramadan upon the one who fulfills or meets the following conditions. So it's important that we know these and memorize these. So the first one is Al-Islam, meaning being a Muslim. فلا يجب ولا يصح الصيام من الكافر. So it is not obligatory, and it is actually not correct for the non-believer, for the non-Muslim to be fasting. لأن الصيام إبادة, because fasting is an act of worship. والإبادة لا تصح من الكافر, and act of worship, any act of worship is not correct when it comes from a disbeliever. فإذا أسلم لا يلزم بقضاء ما فاته. So if a disbeliever becomes a Muslim, then he no longer needs to make up the fast that he has missed. So for example, a person becomes a Muslim at the age of 35, he doesn't need to make up all the fast that he until from the age he reached puberty. No. So that's first. So Islam is if a person is a Muslim, it's wajib upon them to fast. We go into the different other points as well of conditions. The second one is al-bulugh, meaning reaching the age of discernment of puberty. فلا يجب الصيام على من لم يبلغ حد التكليف. So it's not obligatory upon a person to fast when they have not reached the what do you say, the limit, or the point of where something becomes when they become responsible for the actions. So basically, if they don't reach age of puberty, it's not wajib, it's not obligatory upon them to fast. لقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم رفع القلم عن الثلاث, based upon the speech of the Prophet ﷺ in the hadith that the pen has been lifted from three, and that's a Sahih hadith, and it's mentioned in Bukhari. It's mentioned in Bukhari. Yeah. So that is فذكر منهم الصبي حتى يتحلم يحتلم. So from So a boy for so a boy for a male boy until he reached the time when he can have a wet dream, for instance. So that's one sign of puberty. So when he reached that time, then he is mature, and he is obligatory for to fast and pray as well. ولكنه ولكنه يصح الصيام من غير البالغ لو سام. But it is also correct for the one who has, not reached puberty when he fasts. So they still get the reward. إذا كان مميزا, if he is able to distinguish between, things. So if he is able to discern, some people, some children can fast when they're age of 5 or younger than that. So yeah, so it's accepted from them as long as they know what they're doing, that they are fasting. Yeah. وينبغي لولي وينبغي لولي أمره أن يأمره بالصيام, and it is befitting for the guardian of the child that he commands the child with fasting. ليعت- لي- ليعتاده ويؤلفه ويؤلف نعم يألف or يؤلفه, yeah. So basically it's so that he becomes accustomed to it, and he becomes attached to uh, fasting. So that's what happens when you're, even if it might be 6, 7, 8, you before puberty you do this, and the kids, they love to fast, and this becomes a habit, a lifelong habit, alhamdulillah. So that is the second condition, which is reaching the age of discernment or puberty. So fasting is wajib. We're talking about obligatory. Then number three is al-aql, intellect. فلا يجب الصيام على المجنون was it معتوه. So it's not so it's not obligatory to fast upon the one who's majnoon, which is mentally ill, or ma'tuh, which is basically someone who has mental disability. Uh, they don't know right from wrong. So this type of person, so both similar category, they don't have that intelligence. لقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم, according to the speech of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, again that hadith be mentioned, ورفع القلم عن الثلاث. So the pen has been lifted from three, and obviously from them three is the one who's below the age of puberty, and the one who is not intelligently there, maybe someone who's mentally ill, or maybe they have dementia, these type of things. ف فذكر منهم المجنون حتى فذكر نعم فذكر منهم المجنون حتى يفيقوا. So he's mentioned فذكر نعم فذكر منهم, yeah. So that is that if he's if he's mentally ill, that he will not be obligated to fast until he regains his sanity. Yeah? So he regains his intellect, and then he will be able to fast. So some people, they may have certain mental issues, but when they take medication, and if they take the medication before fasting, they might be able to, fast. So that, for example, bipolar and other type of illnesses that affect person's intellect. الصحة, the fourth one is صحة, condition is health. فمن كان مريضا لا يطيق الصيام لم يجب عليه. So the one who is sick, so it might be a different type of sickness, and the sickness that you're not able to fast. So he's not doesn't have the ability to fast, then it's not obligatory upon him to fast. وإن سام صح صيامه. But if he does fast and he is sick, uh, his fasting is correct. Yeah. So it's all about then dependent upon ability and the type of illness that a person's affected with. لقوله تعالى. So he mentions, and this is according to the the speech of Allah. So here it's the let's check this. قوله تعالى, where's it gone now? Yeah, ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر. So it mentions here so whoever of you sights the crescent on the first night of the month of Ramadan and present at his home, he must observe fasting that month. And whoever is ill or on a journey, the same number of days which one did not observe fasting must be made up. Yeah. So that is the ayah in Surah Baqarah, verse 185. فإن زال المرض فإن زال المرض وجب عليه قضاء ما أفطره من أيام. So if the the illness remains, then it's upon the person, the individual who's sick, to make up the days that he didn't fast. Yeah, so make them days up. So if he's at, for example, he's sick for 3 days and he's not able to fast, then he makes them 3 days after Ramadan. So then it's not obligatory upon him because he's sick. So health, yeah, is one of the conditions. Then the fifth condition is al-iqama, meaning being a resident, so not being a traveler. فلا يجب الصوم على المسافر. So fasting is not obligatory upon a person who's traveling. Yeah. لقوله تعالى ومن كان مريضا وعلى سفر فعدة من أيام أخر. And we just recited the ayah and we read the translation. So the same ayah in Surah Baqarah. فلو سام المسافر صح صيامه. But if the person who's traveling were to fast, then his fast is correct. But we're just saying that it's not obligatory upon him. Yeah. So ويجب عليه القضاء ما أفطره في سفر. So it's obligatory upon him to make up the days that he did not fast while traveling. So if he, for example, is traveling and it's taken 3 days to go one end of the earth to the other, and then he has to make them days up. Yeah. So then it's so that's number 5, that you gotta be a resident. Yeah, you gotta be a resident for it to be obligatory upon you to fast. Next one, خلو من الحيض والنفاس. So that is to be free from menstruation or postpartum bleeding. So menstruation, obviously, for a woman, once every month or more, according to roughly that estimate. And nifas is postpartum bleeding, which is when a woman gives birth, the bleeding that happens after that. So then so it's not obligatory upon them to fast in the month of Ramadan. فالحائد والنفساء لا يجب عليهما الصيام. So the one who is menstruating and the one who has postpartum bleeding, then it's not obligatory upon them to fast. بل يحرم عليهما. Rather, it is forbidden for them to fast. So yeah, it's not obligatory, but it's actually forbidden that they fast with that in that condition. لقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم, that's according to the speech of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, أليس إذا حادت لم تصلي ولم تصم فذلك من نقصان دينها. So the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, is it not that so we mentioned the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم mentioning the deficiency in the woman, that when is it not that when she menstruates, that she doesn't pray and that she doesn't fast. Yeah. So she doesn't pray and she doesn't fast. And that is from the deficiency in her religion. Yeah. And the rough meaning of the hadith as well, in the deficiency in intellect, was that you require 2 women for a witness, while 1 man is needed. Then the Sheikh continued, and that hadith is obviously Sahih again, and that's number 8, Bukhari as well. And then وَيَجِبُ الْقَضَاء and it's obligatory to make up the fast that are missed for the women who are missing the fasting due to menstruation or postpartum bleeding. قضاء عليهما لقول عائشة. So it's obligatory to make up the fasting according to the speech of Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, radiallahu anha, the mother of the believers, when she said, كان يصيبنا ذلك, and we were afflicted with that. فنؤمر بقضاء الصوم ولا نؤمر بقضاء الصلاة. So we were afflicted with that, with meaning menstruation or postpartum bleeding, and we were commanded with making up the fast. So making up the fast, but we were not commanded with making up the prayer. So women don't need to make up the prayer when they miss the prayer due to menstruation, but they do need to make up the fast. I'm saying with postpartum bleeding, and that is a Sahih Hadith mentioned in Muslim. So those, again, we go through that quickly. So the 5 conditions that we mentioned here, sorry, 6 conditions, is a person needs to be a Muslim to fast, for fasting to be obligatory upon him. He needs to be reach the age of discernment for it to be obligatory upon him. He needs to have intellect, be sane for it to be obligatory upon him, healthy, a resident, and free from menstruation or postpartum bleeding. So they were the 6 conditions for the for the fast to be obligatory upon a person. We go on to the 6th affair, مسألة السادسة ثبوت دخول شهر رمضان وانقضاؤه. So so here we mention that the basically the establishing the entry of a month of Ramadan. How do we establish that, and when it comes to an end? So يثبت دخول شهر رمضان برؤية الهلال. So is established the entering of the month of Ramadan is established by way of sighting the hilal, the crescent, بنفسه أو بشهادة غيره على رؤيته. So by a person by himself, if he sees the crescent, or by the witness of other than him, if he's seen it, أو إخباره بذلك, or he's informed of that. Maybe there's a council set up in a Muslim country. In regards to non-Muslim countries, obviously, you still sight the moon if you can, but if it's not clear, then you go on to what's been established in terms of the moon being sighted. So if it's been sighted, the moon's been sighted, then we begin fasting the month of Ramadan. فإذا شهد مسلم عدل برؤية هلال رمضان ثبت بهذه شهادة دخول شهر Ramadan. So obviously it needs to be witnessed by a Muslim who is someone who's adl, someone who's reliable, trustworthy, that if he sees the hilal of the month of Ramadan. So if that's established, then with this witness, then the month of Ramadan has been established that is coming. لقوله تعالى, and according to the ayah, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمْ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْهُ, which is from the Surah Baqarah. Whoever of you witnesses the month of Ramadan, so he witnesses the crescent, then upon him is to fast it, the month of Ramadan. وَلِقَوْلِهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم, and according to the speech of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُوهُ فَصُومُوا, if you see it, meaning the crescent, then fast. And that is again number 9 here, which is Bukhari, again Sahih Hadith. ولحديث ابن عمر رضي الله عنه, and according to the hadith of Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with both of them, أخبرت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم برؤية رمضان فسامه وأمر الناس بصيامه. So he said, I informed the Messenger ﷺ, because he was Ibn Umar, a companion of the Prophet ﷺ. He informed the Prophet ﷺ about the sighting of the crescent, the month of for the month of Ramadan. So the Prophet ﷺ fasted then, and he commanded the people to fast. So that's proof that a person needs to be a Muslim that is trustworthy, and that he cites it, and then we then what we start fasting the month. Then the Shaykh, he says, فَإِن لَمْ يَرَى الْهِلَالَ فَإِن لَمْ يَرَى الْهِلَالَ أو لم يشهد مسلم عدل برؤيته وجب إكمال عدة شعبان 30 يوما. So if it's not, if there's hilal, the crescent is not sighted, or a Muslim that there's not a Muslim, a trustworthy Muslim that's seen it, seen the hilal, then it's obligatory upon the Muslims to complete 30 days of Sha'ban. So we're in Sha'ban now. So Sha'ban is the month before Ramadan. So in the Islamic calendar, according to the lunar calendar, we only have 29 days or 30 days. We don't have 31 days and we don't have 28 days. So, so from that, if a Muslim doesn't see the crescent, then he completes 30 days of Sha'ban, and then he begins the next day will be, after completing 30 days, it'll be the first day of Ramadan. Yeah. So, ولا يثبت ولا يثبت دخول الشهر ولا يثبت دخول شهر بغير هذين الأمرين، رؤية الهلال أو إتمام شعبان 30 يوما. So it's not been established or proven that month of Ramadan has come in except by these two ways, either by sighting the hilal or by completing 30 days of Sha'ban. Yeah. After completing the 30 days of Sha'ban, the next day will be the first of Ramadan. لقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم, according to the speech of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, سوموا لرؤيته وأفطروا لرؤيته. So fast by seeing it and break your fast by seeing it, meaning فإن غبي عليكم فأكملوا عدة شعبان 30. So the Prophet ﷺ speech, fast by seeing it, meaning by seeing the halal at the end of Sha'ban, and break the fast by seeing it, meaning the end of Ramadan, for Eid. And then if it is not clear to you, and this or it's hidden from you, the crescent, then upon you is to complete the 30 days of Sha'ban. Yeah. So that is again a Sahih Hadith, and that is from Bukhari. Then we go on to ويثبت انقضاء رمضان برؤية هلال شهر شوال بشهادة المسلمين عدلين. So then he goes. He mentions that also the affirmed and established the end of the month of Ramadan by the sighting of the halal of the Shahr of Shawwal. So at the end of the month of Ramadan, we look at look for the moon for the Shawwal, the month after Ramadan, and is witnessed by the Muslims that are that are trustworthy. فإن لم يشهد المسلمان عدلان برؤية حلال وجب إكمال عدة رمضان 30 يوما. So if the month of so if the hilal is not sighted at the end of the month by two, now it's considered two witnesses that see the hilal, then it's obligatory upon the Muslims to complete the Ramadan for 30 days rather than 29. So So you see, for coming in of the month of Ramadan is one witness that is, that is trustworthy, that required. While for the exiting of the month, we need at least a minimum of two trustworthy Muslims. Then we finish with the final uh, uh, affair, which is the seventh affair, which is وقت النية في صوم في الصوم حكمها. So the seventh affair is the timing of the intention that a person has for fasting and its ruling. يجب على الصائم أن ينوي الصيام. So it's obligatory upon a person to make an intention for fasting. وهي ركن من أركانه كما مدى. And it is a condition from its conditions, as we mentioned in the first last lesson. لقول صلى الله عليه وسلم, according to the speech of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى. According to the Prophet hadith, indeed actions are by their intentions, and indeed for every person is what he intended. وينويها من الليل في الصيام في صيام الواجب. So it is obligatory for a person to make the intention the night before if it's an obligatory fast. Yeah. كصوم رمضان والكفارة والقضاء والنذر. Like, so obligatory fast like fasting month of Ramadan, or make it as an expiation. So if you made it's upon you to if you did broke a fast and it's upon you to fast 2 months as expiation, then you need to have that niyyah the night before when you're fasting. And qada, making up fasting, you need to have the niyyah the night before. And nadhar, if you make a vow that if so and so happens, Allah, I'll fast this much days, then you will need to make the niyyah the night before. ولو قبل فجر بدقيقة واحدة. And even if it's before Fajr by 1 minute, then that's sufficient. So as long as you have the intention, and you don't say the intention on your tongue like some Muslims, incorrectly believe. No, there's no particular intention that you utter in your tongue. It's actually in your heart. لقول صلى الله عليه وسلم من لم so here the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he mentioned in this hadith, let me get this up. So that was من لم يبيت الصيام صيام قبل الفجر فلا صيام له. So which means whoever doesn't have an intention before for fasting before Fajr, then he doesn't have no fast, meaning his fast is not correct. And that is again taken from Tirmidhi and Nisa'i and Ibn Majah, and the wording is of Nisa'i, and Sheikh Albani he authenticated it in Tahiyya Tirmidhi, as mentioned. Yeah. فمن نوى صوما في النهار ولم يطعم شيئا لم يجزئه إلا في صيام التطوع. So whoever intends to fast makes the intention of fasting during the day. So he's woken up, he's prayed Fajr, and he's made an intention after Fajr, for example, or at Dhuhr time, he's not eating, and even he's not eating, he's not given the reward of fasting, except if it's what? Optional prayers. Like, for example, Monday or Thursday, or as we mentioned, the light days, Yamul Bid, like the 13th, 14th, to the 15th of each month. So these optional prayer, fast, then you can, make an intention during the day, and you don't need to make intention before Fajr. But for the obligatory fasting, no, it's not sufficient. It's got to be before Fajr. فيجوز بنية من النهار. So it's permissible for the optional fast to have intention during the day. إذا لم يطعم شيئا من أكل أو شرب. If he hasn't eaten or drank anything before that. The hadith عائشة رضي الله عنه قالت, according to the hadith of Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, when she said دخل علي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ذات يوم فقال, so Ali entered upon the Prophet ﷺ that day, and he said, هل عندكم من شيء sorry دخل علي. So the Prophet ﷺ entered upon me, he entered the dwelling, the Prophet ﷺ, and he that day, and he said, هل عندكم من شيء, is there anything, meaning food? فقلنا لا. So we said, no, there's no food in the house. قال فإني إذن صائم. Then he said, therefore I am fasting. So that is optional fast. So the Prophet ﷺ asked, is there any food? And the wife said no. So he said, then I am fasting. So that is for the optional fast. It gives a proof for that, and that is Muslim. So it's a Sahih Hadith from Sahih Muslim. أما الصيام الواجب فلا ينعقد بالنية من النهار. So as for fasting, the wajib, as for fasting from the obligatory fast, then a person cannot make the niyyah during the day. ولا بد فيه من نية الليل. So then it is obligatory for him to make an intention at night, as we said, even if it's a minute before Fajr. وتكفي نية واحدة في بداية رمضان لجميع الشهر. And it's sufficient for a person to make a niyyah that is going to fast the whole month before the Fajr of the first day. So you can make a niyyah that I'm going to fast the whole month, and that niyyah is sufficient for the whole month. ويستحب تجديدها في كل يوم. But it is actually preferred for a person to renew his niyyah every day. So either of them two options are available. So a person can make one niyyah just before the first day of Ramadan, before Fajr, that he's going to fast a full month, but it is more liked and preferred that a person he makes a niyyah before every Fajr, a few minutes before every Fajr or the night before, that he's going to be fasting. Inshallah, with that we stop there, and we'll continue next lesson on Saturday, and that will be the second chapter, and we'll continue. We'll stop there. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.